Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be in the world. Okay, so today I thought I'd talk about a book I recently read by a favourite author of mine, and it's this one, Eye of Cat by Roger Zelazny. I quite like that cover. Let's see that. There you go. Get that light for there. So yeah, this is one of my favourite authors. I've said before I didn't read a lot, or haven't read a lot of science fiction um, recently, but one person, or one that I generally do sit down and read, at least his Nine Princes in Amber, is Roger Zelazny. So a little bit about him. He was born in 1937. He died in 1995. And he was very influential on the American science fiction and fantasy scene. He was known for blending mythological themes and modern SF. Probably his most notable novel in that time was Lord of Light, which is very good. It's another book that I revisit quite frequently. So if you've ever get the chance to read that, please read that as well, Lord of Light, and for which he also won the Hugo for that. He was seen as a key figure in the new wave movement of SF, and he won 6 Hugos, in fact, and 3 Nebula Awards. And he witty, poetic, complex protagonist. I think some of those would be the some good adjectives to describe Zelazny. He was born in 1937 in Euclid, Ohio, and he was the only child of Polish American or Irish American parents. He always loved mythology and fantasy, and he began writing stories in the mid 1950s. He earned a bachelor's in English from Western Reserve University and a master's in comparative literature from Columbia University in the early 1960s. So his academic bona fides certainly put him in a place where he knows what he's going on about. His breakthrough was in the 1960s, and he began publishing professionally in 1962, and he got significant attention for works like A Rose for Ecclesiastes in 1963. He was considered a leader of the new wave, and focusing on character psychology, stylized prose, and mythological elements, as mentioned before. His prose was award-winning. He won his first Nebula for the novella He Who Shapes, and this was quickly followed by the Hugo for The Immortal in 1966, and then Lord of Light in 1967. I think in 1966 with The Immortal, that was a double winner because he was a joint winner with June, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty... For some reason that tickles my memory. He obviously is the most famous for the Amber series, with which it started with Nine Princes in Amber in 1970. This was a very popular series. It blends science fantasy, creating a world where characters only walk between parallel dimensions. Now, I'm not really fond of this title, science fantasy. It's it's a conceit, I think. It's either science fiction or it's fantasy. To me, the Amber series is fantasy, not science fiction. His methodology was that he focused on trickster characters, demigods, or morally ambiguous characters who have immense power. He worked early in his career. He worked for the Social Security Administration until 1969, and then he became a full-time author. He was an active member. He was an active member of the Science Fiction Writers of America, and sorry, I'm getting my notes all mixed up here now. You see, I'll do this without cuts. Well, I have to leave my finger. Yeah. Bloody thing. Yeah, so he lived in Santa Fe in New Mexico and for many years, and died at home, or he died on June 14th, 1995 at the tender age of 58. God, he's younger than me, due to complications from cancer. So, legacy. Zelazny's legacy is widely considered one of the most influential science fiction fantasy writers, with his work influencing authors such as He Who Shall Not Be Named and George R.R. Martin. He won a total of 6 Hugos and 3 Nebulas, as I mentioned before. So, as I said, I recently read this one, Eye of Cat. It doesn't really come up very well, let's put that there. Eye of Cat. There you go. Eye of Cat. Okay, this one was his last novel, and it's a novel. I enjoy it. I enjoyed reading it. I think that Zelazny, amongst his other accolades, I mean, he was mostly a literature major, but I think he was very much a sociologist. If I just give you a quick rundown of the story, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. So it was written in 1982. So I think it's Zelazny's final work. And it follows Billy Blackhorse, singer, a fatalistic Navajo tracker. It's a bounty hunter, if you like, who must utilise his skills to protect a crucial diplomatic mission. He enlists Cat, a telepathic, shape-shifting creature he wants trapped, setting up a high-stakes hunt where the tracker becomes the hunted. Billy, feeling isolated and detached from his roots, agrees to let Cat hunt him after they work together to secure a galactic treaty. The narrative follows Billy's attempt to evade Cat across the globe, utilising technology and eventually returning to his roots at Canyon Chelly. The novel does explore themes of guilt, loneliness, and the reconciliation of technological advancements with Navajo mythology. It highlights the contrast between the hunter's modern scientific hunting method and the ancient power of Chindi, or spirits. Zelazny employs a highly stylised stream of consciousness narrative with significant elements of Navajo folklore and mythology. The structure features non-linear threads, occasionally reflecting experimental cut-up styles. There's basically only two characters in this story. There's Billy, who is the final member of his family, while Cat is a powerful alien being, often appearing as a one-eyed creature. The story acts as both a suspenseful hunt and a profound internal journey for Billy as he attempts to survive both his enemy and his own fatalism. I wrote that, so I agree with that. But that's just skimming the surface of the narrative. As I mentioned, it shows some of Zelazny's willingness to play with language. He was very much in charge of what he was writing, and he knew how he could use language to convey a sense, an idea of place when there is no place. Sometimes it felt very PKD-like. I know Zelazny wrote some stories in conjunction with PKD, and I think their styles mesh very well together. This one is very PKD. I mean, there's a teleportation gimmick that they use, and they also, in the future, Billy's the last of his family because his family decided not to take this longevity drug, so he's become basically immortal, or nearly immortal. And I think that the Galactic Treaty idea is not really the story. That's not the story. The story is the relationship of Billy, not even with Cat. It's Billy, the relationship of Billy and his place in the universe. He's been around a long time, and he's rediscovered his spirituality. There are times when the prose, because Zelazny uses like cut up prose, he had a habit of doing this towards the end of his life, where he would have non-linear prose, where it's almost stream of consciousness. It's not quite, because you can feel that there is a thought going through the whole of what is being written, and there's control. There's a certain amount of control of what he wants to say. I think this was one of Zelazny's best. It's a very short novel. You can read it in one sitting, and I don't know how many pages it. I read it in a couple of sittings because I had other things to do. But once I got into it, I just couldn't put it down, to be quite honest. It's 188 pages, so it's not long. You can do it in one sitting if you have a mind to. But I think it's one of his best books. I mean, as I say, I really enjoy Zelazny. He's something. I mean, Mad Wand, The Changeling are two others that I really enjoy. The Amber series is both of them are sine qua non for me. Every year I need to read at least one or two of them. But The Lord of Light, that's just everybody should read that at least once. But I think this was just this was his last novel, and I think this was Zelazny having fun with language. I mean, he's pretty much he's a good anthropologist as well. I mean, he knows his stuff, so he obviously researches. I know that is it David Hillerman? I can't remember now. he was Tony Hillerman. Tony Hillerman, who's the indigenous writer. I think he's Navajo as well. Um, he was a friend of Zelazny, and I think a lot of what Zelazny wrote in this book uh, has rubbed off on him from Tony Hillerman. But anyway, I think I've waffled on long enough now. As I say, I would highly recommend this. I wouldn't give this a 5 out of 5, but I'd certainly give it a 4 out of 5. And I would seriously ask you to read this. Find a copy. I found this on World of Books, so it's not difficult to find. There are other copies out there, I know. But if you can, find this. This should be part of the Masterwork series. It's not, but it should be. So, okay, I'll leave it there. And until next time, that's me. I think my next one is going to be a book haul. We'll see how things go. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe. If you've got anything to say, if you've read Eye of Cat and you disagree with me, or even if you agree with me, leave a comment and then we can chat about it. Okay? So I shall say goodbye.